So to start today's lesson off, I'm going to ask you a question which I ask quite a lot of my lessons. And even for myself, I probably couldn't have demonstrated the answer till I was off about 3 or 4 handicap and had been playing golf quite a few years. Now, be honest with yourself. Could you show me what your iron impact looks like, or even your driver or your fairway would impact? If we had a 7 iron, could you go from standing in a dress to showing me exactly what an impact position and what a good impact position looks like? If you can't, today's lesson is all for you. So let's get right into it now. So it's not something where I'm trying to sort of belittle my clients or anything like that, or pick out, oh, you don't know what you're doing there. It's a great thing, because if we can't actually get into impact from address to just putting ourselves into a position, it's going to be quite difficult for us to do it at, let's say, 60, 70 miles an hour when we're swinging the golf club and trying to get into that position when we don't quite know what it is. So we're going to have a look at what a good impact position is today, guys, and hopefully this little bit of a drill and this little bit of practice that you can do can actually help you get into these positions and see that you're going to start hitting better golf shots. Because impact is what the golf swing pretty much is all about. The job of the golf swing is to move A towards target B. So we're trying to get our ball towards our target. And by doing that, it all comes down to that moment of truth when we put the golf club back onto the golf ball. And you know what? The golf ball doesn't lie. Whatever you do, it doesn't know whether you're Tiger Woods, Dave Smith off 28, Matt Fryer, whoever it may be. It doesn't know who you are. All it knows is what it's been told by the golf club and the impact conditions. So if we can get those right, we should see that we're starting to get better impacts. So what I would see from a lot of my lessons, if we looked at slow motion videos of them, they might grip it fantastically. They might stand to it absolutely brilliantly. They make a beautiful backswing that gets into some great positions. They start the downswing really well, but when they actually come back to hitting it, they almost look like what they were at address. They might even get something where the lead wrist now is starting to cup up. We might see that we're hitting it a bit more off the back foot because the weight's gone backwards a little bit. We might see that the shaft is leaning back away from the target. And as I'm doing all these things, I bet to yourself, God, that looks a little bit like me. And also, it doesn't look like what I'd see on the TV. If we were to slow down some images of Adam Scott, if we saw Jack Nicklaus back in the day, if we saw any of these great players, even if you watch Jim Fuyrk, Bubba Watson, and then compared them to Adam Scott, when they get to this moment of truth, everything and all of them look pretty similar. And what we're talking about there, if we're talking irons, guys, what we're looking for. Now, as we strike it with an iron, we know that we want ball and then turf impact. So that means that we've got to get the low point of the arc just after the golf ball. So to do that, what we've got to do firstly is shift the weight forwards. And as I do that, even then it starts to bring in the other components. What starts to happen is that my left wrist, it starts to bow up a little bit, so it gets a bit flatter or into this bow position. The handle starts to lean in front of the golf ball there. My chest might stay squared, it might be slightly closed or open depending on how you swing it, but also because I'm moving my weight forwards, notice that my right knee, my trail knee for me, is starting to move towards my lead knee, and my hips are starting to open out into this position. So from address, it looks very different at impact. This is where we'd go to. And if I could get that, if I were to put that back onto the golf ball at some speed, that would produce a pretty good golf shot. Now, like I say, when I ask a lot of people, so could you just show me your impact position? What are we trying to get to? That moment comes over, because we never really think of it like that. We never actually go, well, what am I actually trying to create here? What is it I'm trying to do with this golf club and this golf swing? What am I trying to do to that ball? What have I got to do? If we now know that we've got to get the weight forwards, we've got to get the handle leaning, we've got to get this left wrist turning in and that the hip starting to open out and chest feeling square or slightly open, we might actually get a better chance of getting into that with our full swing. So what I like to do once I've got people to go from, I call it the snap drill, where we go address, impact, address, impact. How do I move that weight across so I feel like I'm pushing off my trail side, my hips are opening, and I feel like my hands are actually pushing into the ground a little bit there. Okay, so I start to get this drill going. Snap, address, impact. I see that I'm getting a great impact position. I'm starting to actually do all the things that we just talked about a moment ago. Once I can do that, then what I want to start to do is actually build some up, and I've got a tree here in front of me in the middle of the fairway that's about 70 yards, and I've got a pretty straight cut pathway down here. So when I'm at the range, I like to say to people, well, imagine we've just hit it in the trees off the tee. Let's chip it back out 60 yards onto the fairway, but we've got to keep it below the canopy, because if we don't, we're going to flick it back up into the trees and it's not going to be a great shot. If we can just chip one back into play, we should see that we're getting a pretty good impact position there then. So we go through a few addresses to snap positions. Dress, snap, dress, snap. So right, can you just make a little one? Let's get it back into the fairway, 60 yards. So we take our good setup. We have a little rehearsal of where we're trying to go with our impact position. And then we just make the small swing. Beautiful. Oof, just clipped the tree nearly. Did it? No. So from there, what we can see now is that I got a really solid contact. You might have heard that on the microphone. It was ball, and then there's this nice little divot. The ball has gone pretty much exactly where I aimed it. It was about 2 yards right of there. And that was all coming from understanding what I wanted to do with my address to impact. So I started to make some golf swings and saw that I was doing the right thing over and over again. So once I can do that and build some shots up, we go through about 10 or 15 of these trying to get into the small impacts. Then what we do, let me just repeg this bad boy up as we go through. So right, can you hit it back out onto the fairway for 120 yards for me now? So we go up, down, can we get this good address position, seeing that we get from address into impact and do all the things that we've just done with a short one, and see if we can go a little bit longer. So there's address, there's impact, so I've got that handle leaning forwards, my hips have opened out, my weight's moved forwards, see that my left wrist is turning over to square the face up. Then I'll go 120 yards with this one now. Real solid contact, taken off down the same line, and a really nice, great impact position. Everything felt well struck, everything felt like I was doing the right motions, because I've gone through it. I've not gone from being able to not walk to running straight away. I've built it up in steps. I've now understood what I want to do. I just don't go, oh, was that it? What was I meant to be doing, by the way? Oh yeah, that was, yeah, probably it. I go through, get the factors, get the components of a good impact position, see that you can build those up, see that you understand, get the feeling from this address to snap drill, address, snap, actually what it is you're trying to do there, what it feels like, what the club looks like, sorry, and then build it up with some smaller shots. And then as you start to get bigger and bigger and bigger, you should still hopefully be feeling the same things throughout impact. So start small, guys, see that you can go address to snap, then hit some 60 yarders, imagining you're under some trees and you're punching it back out onto the canopy, onto the fairway, sorry, under the canopy. That should maintain a good strike for you. Then build it up from there, see that you're still doing the same things. And even if you're at home, if you're not got a golf club with you, you can still actually just stand in front of a mirror. If my camera now was the mirror, I'd stand and think, well, that's a pretty bad impact position. My weight feels behind the ball, my left wrist cupped. Let's see if I can, yeah, there we go. Yeah, that feels great. yeah, I'm doing that, and then I'd be through into a good golf swing. Once you can start to do that repeatedly, you should be able to start doing it in your full golf swings all the time. You should actually get these better impact positions. And like I said at the start of the video, that's what it all comes down to, that moment of impact. Has everything lined up? Have we got everything looking correctly? So if you have, and you follow this drill, you should see that you're getting better golf shots all the time and seeing that you're nailing your impact position. Guys, I hope you've enjoyed this video today. If you do want more free lessons, remember, do hit the subscribe button and the bell down below so I become your golf coach and you don't miss any future lessons. Leave me a like and a comment as well if you've enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in another lesson.